In Jamaica, the Ministry of Education will be closing down 18 primary schools effective September 2015. Education Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites says the ministry took the decision to close the institutions after careful consultations. He says the schools are being closed because of their underperformance, high operational costs and meager populations. The Education Minister says the schools in question are underutilized and most have a population of less than 100 students.
In some communities, the population has been generally declining, with a smaller number of young people and many older persons as residents. This has negatively impacted the operational costs for these institutions. The average cost for a unit per capita of primary education is approximately 88,000, closer now to 90,000. And in many of these small schools, it's costing up to twice as much, and in some cases 5 times as much, in order to offer the same service. But in fact, if it were the same service, Mr. Speaker, it would be all right perhaps. But in all of the 18 schools targeted for closure, they have performed below or certainly not above the national average in the 2014 Grade 6 Achievement Test.
Minister Thwaites notes that despite this small teacher-to-student ratio, these schools are still failing to meet the national standard in the Grade 4 literacy examination.
Most have performed significantly below the average, the national average of 77.2% in the Grade 14 literacy test in 2014. This academic performance is despite the fact that the teacher-pupil ratio is less than 1 in 20 in most of the schools, and in some the ratio is as low as 1 to 7, 1 teacher to 7 students. The decision to close a school is a difficult one and is made only after several options are considered to address unviability. The options include consolidating underutilized schools, reconfiguring them into a multipurpose center of learning in the community, and various other options.
And the Ministry of Education will be assisting affected students to relocate.
The team from the Ministry of Education has been very responsive to all the concerns raised. However, in the final analysis, we have to make a decision in the interest of student achievement and the efficient use of financial resources. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Education assures parents that where the relocation of students has resulted in transportation needs, we will contract transport operators to ensure their children can get to school and back home at no cost to them. And similarly, Mr. Speaker, where children are prejudiced from having a meal at home, where many of them live close to the school that is being affected, provision will be made for them to have a lunch at the school where they go to now. So we are ensuring that there is no prejudice to the students, and in most cases they are being referred to schools that are within, say, 5 kilometers from the existing institution.
The Education Minister assured that no permanent staff at the schools which are to be closed have been negatively affected. Most of the affected schools are from rural parishes.
Those to be affected are Bowden Hill School, which is still open to, Tower Hill Primary, Clifton Primary, both in East Rural St. Andrew. We are still receiving proposals that may affect the Mount James All-Age School, the Black Hill All-Age School in Portland Western as the Belvedere Primary, the Pear Tree River Primary in St. Thomas Eastern, and Preston Hill and Rosebank in St. Mary, the Alps in Primary School in Southern Trelawney, and the Brittonville, Clydesdale, and Jeffreyville Primary Schools in St. Anne, South, Eastern, and Western, respectively. The Hillsbrook Primary School in Eastern Hanover, the Octombeny Primary in Manchester, Northwestern, the Hopetoun Primary in St. Elizabeth, Southeastern, and the Heartlands Primary in a constituency in St. Catherine, West South Central.